But I mean, Patrick, stage seven, it's a third way, well, third of into the race, and I mean, this crash, what exactly happened? It's absolutely carnage here.
Yeah, it is just I don't really know exactly what caused it, but it's a wet day in Giro d'Italia, and it's been a very attritional day throughout pretty much. We saw a pretty big fight to get him a breakaway, but only really like two riders got off the front, which is Enzo Polani and Taco van der Hoorn. Fortunato got up the road, but went back to the peloton. Yeah, we've seen this crash, and quite a lot of names going down. Obviously, yeah, we've got a whole list, but the list of riders that went down in this crash is Mads Pedersen, Adam Yates, Jai Hindley, Gerber Tayson, Anthony Perez, Derek G, Danny Martinez, Jan Tratnik, Paul Magnier, Anthony Perez, Jonathan Lastra, Lorenzo Fortunato, the KOM classification leader, James Shaw, Felix Engelhardt, and Richard Carapaz. So some pretty big names there, especially with, the Maya Rosa, Pedersen, Adam Yates, Hindley, Derek G, Danny Martinez, Richard Carapaz. These are some really big names. It was reported that Jay Vine abandoned the race, but I don't think that's actually true. Apparently, he is still in the race, so that's just people, seeing that Jay Vine has a reputation for crashing and just presuming that he must have been involved in there. But it's a lot of names going down, Scott. We've seen subsequently from that Jai Hindley has abandoned the race alongside some other names like Joseph Czerny is abandoned. I think Dion Smith, Yuri Holman for Alpecin de Koenig is abandoned as well. I think everybody else is still in the race, but from this, Pedersen has been caught behind, and yeah, it doesn't look like the peloton waited for him, and I don't know whether there's anything in that.
Yeah, isn't it kind of like you're always waiting for the leader of a Grand Tour, but the race is on. Is that is that what happened? But yeah, in the crash, what do you think this? Okay, Mespelsen out of the Maglia Rosa, but which is a bit unfortunate. He's not really a GC contender, so that's maybe where like the lines are blurred on that front. What effect do you think that this crash will have wider impact? I mean, Jai Hindley, former winner of the Giro, supposed to be like one of the lieutenants of Primoz Roglic, Jan Tratnik as well. I mean, the whole Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe having like a iron fist hold on this, well, GC lead. What impact do you think it'll have?
I think it's hard to say. I think it will make it harder for Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe to control the race. In some other mountains, you might see them playing a bit more of a passive game, more than perhaps they would have done already with Roglic second in line, but with Pedersen now probably out of Maya Rosa, Roglic will move into it, so they can't just stranglehold stages with big climbing talent anymore because Hindley's gone. So it sort of opens the door for UAE Team Emirates to put the pressure on them if Red Bull were to pace mountain stages. So I think you might see Red Bull just allowing a lot of breakaways to go and letting them take bonus seconds at finish lines. I mean, tomorrow, like a hilltop finish. So yeah, you might not see Red Bull maybe pace that like tomorrow for Roglic just because they don't have Hindley there. It essentially opens up UAE to attack them. So I think it might lead to a bit more of a defensive race from Red Bull.
Well, that'll be music to many of these breakaway teams' ears. That yeah, we didn't see many breakaway wins last year, courtesy of Tadej Pogačar sweeping everything up. So that would be good to see the infight there as well. What do you make of Richie Carapaz? We saw the scene of him being surrounded by all the EF Education Easy Post riders. Obviously, won the polka dot jersey last year, fourth place in the Welter as well. Was looking like he was well, almost back to the old Richard Carapaz before he joined EF Education Easy Post.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. Hopefully, there's no sort of knock-on effects or whatever, and hopefully nobody's been too badly scuffed up by this. But yeah, it is a little bit worrying because, like you say, Carapaz has been looking pretty good. Obviously, the TT wasn't his kind of his day, but it never really has been. So I think yeah, it's a bit of a shame, especially with that hilltop finish tomorrow, that he might get a little bit, might be held back a little bit by that, by any sort of lingering pains or a bad night's sleep. So that's a shame because Carapaz, like you say, is probably a top 10 contender, or definitely was before this crash. Don't know what kind of injuries he's sustained from it. So yeah, that is a bit of a shame.
If something happens with him, how are EF Education Easy Post and I mean even Sudal Quickstep to some extent who have already lost their main man? Is it just both teams turning into breakaway contending teams?
Um, Not massively, I would say. I mean, maybe for EF Education Easy Post as Steinhauser, but because he did mention in the before the race that he was working for Carapaz. I wouldn't say the rest of the team is too set up for breakaways on some rolly stages, maybe Honore or maybe Cepeda could do something as well. But Sudal quick step wise, Catania, Garofoli, who's just outside of the top 10 the other day. Lamptey and Magnier as well, for the sprints. They've still got options going on here, but it's certainly not ideal with Landa and Czerny being out.
Do you think, well, going back to UAE Team Emirates, do you think they're going to be worried with Adam Yates? Obviously, we don't know the extent of the crash. Obviously, a crash is never a good thing. But with the kind of embarrassment of riches that they have with Isaac Del Toro also in there, and Jay Vine, well, even Brandon McNulty as well, will losing Adam Yates, okay, I touted him as maybe winning this year the Giro in our preview, but yeah, are they able to support Juan Ayuso all the way to Rome?
Yeah, I think even if Yates overnight were to, I don't know, realize that he's broken something and he has to withdraw from a race, I still think UAE Team Emirates is a strong enough team to support Juan Ayuso. Like you say, with all the names that you mentioned, they've, even a small handicap like that, I don't think will hamper them that much. And it's been a really strong team so far in this race. I mean, gosh, we saw that, just in yesterday's stage as well. They really took to the front, the one which Pedersen won. So I think that UE Team Emirates will be fine. Hopefully Yates is okay. I mean, he's looked, just fine. Obviously more for the last week of this race. So I hope that he manages to stay in this race. But I think if even if he left, UE Team Emirates would be able to continue just fine.
Okay, you talked a bit about stage seven as well. What do you think will happen in this weekend because of this? Do you think it's going to be three breakaway stages that we're going to see, like the gravel stage tomorrow and stage eight as well?
Tomorrow's stage with a hilltop finish. I think that could go to the breakaway. I think the only people who'd be interested in that would be UE Team Emirates. I think Red Bull would be quite happy just maybe sticking with what they've got at the moment, or maybe they decide to double down and try get Roglic more bonus seconds. Who knows? I think the gravel stage, a decent breakaway will go, but I think that it's going to be an attritional day. It gives you some pretty big time gaps on GC. I don't think like Hindley or Yates crashing in today's stage is really going to change that much because I think that it's going to be a day that's going to be attritional and those two riders doesn't really change that too much. I think it'll be a real tough day. And I think that Pidcock's going to try and do something on that day and try and get the win. That's my expectation of it. I think the rest of the GC riders will just be hoping that nothing catastrophic goes wrong and they don't lose too much time. I think that it's really going to be either a breakaway or it's going to be Pidcock who's going to be trying to light things up. Maybe Lidl Trek. I mean, maybe Pedersen decides or Vatsek or somebody just decides to try and really put the hammer down.